Hello, welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. My name is Caroline Heward and I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert. Our show today is Talking Heads and I'm an expert presenter on today's topic, which is Narcissism in Relationships, which is part of the Mind and Body Connection series. Let's begin. I like to start off with my quotes because it sets a scene, and today's quote is from Carla Grimes. A narcissist paints a picture of themselves as being the victim or innocent in all aspects. They will be offended by the truth, but what is done in the dark will come to light. Time has a way of showing people's true colours. Carla Grimes. I felt that that's a kind of a really interesting quote that has a nice encompassing look at what we're going to look at today. So the overt traits of a narcissist. You'll know a narcissist because they rock up being very important. They will be the showcase. They will be the one that's leading conversation. They'll have charisma. They will have charm. They will be full of themselves. You know the kind of person I mean. And we're not just talking about one sex here, just men. We're talking about women as well. There are definitely men and women narcissists. So we have this overriding behaviour of being important, more important than everybody else. So they will tend to lead the conversation. They will tend to be the star performer of any conversation or any relationship. They will certainly feel uncomfortable if they are not centre stage. So they will do everything they can to be centre stage. You'll know a narcissist because when the conversation goes to anything about somebody not having a great time or having difficulty in a situation, they will lack empathy. They will not be able to connect with you at the heart level. They will find it very, very difficult. They're the ones that are analysing and conversing and talking through things rather than giving you true empathy, true heart space and compassion, because it's not easy for them. It's not their skill. It's not that they don't want to do it. It's not a skill for them. So they will find it very difficult to connect at that heart-based level, that place of empathy, that place of warmth. On the other side of that, they will be full of criticism. They will also be quick to rage if they are not centre stage. Let me say that again. They will be quick to rage if they are not centre stage. This is not sounding like it's very great. And there's a lot of very wonderful positives about a narcissist that we're going to go on to later on in this presentation. But for now, it's important to understand that it's their thing to be centre stage. And if they're not, they will then come back at you with criticism. They will have, by default of them lacking empathy and full of their own self-importance, trust issues. It'll be very hard for them to let someone in really close to them. And so they will suffer with a level of emotional intimacy. And I'm not just talking about the emotional intimacy in a relationship specifically, in an intimate relationship. I'm talking about the emotional intimacy with friendship, business colleagues, with friendships and family. They will find it really, really difficult to connect at that emotional level. And so the conversations for them will be quite superficial. And so therein lies this person full of their own self-importance. What you're getting is a false image. You're not actually seeing the real person, because there's a lot of facade around a narcissist. These are the overbearing traits of needing to be liked. They have to be liked. They have to be center stage. And they also have to have this image of what can be deemed as someone that everybody wants to be with. So it will be an external image that they are projecting in that external environment of social, of get-togethers, events. They will really need to have that image in situ when they're in a large audience or a smaller audience. But this is their public persona. So I want to talk about the honeymoon period of getting into a relationship with a narcissist. I'm going to call this love bombing. I don't know whether you've heard the term before. Love bombing is when the person is all over you like a rash. Like everything is about you. They will be throwing unbelievable amounts of comments at you. They will want to be with you morning, noon, and afternoon and evening until the early wee hours of the morning. They won't want to let you go. They will put you on a pedestal and make you the queen or the king. That they want to make you feel very secure. And this is why it's called a honeymoon period, because everything's going to be wonderful. They're going to be showering you with gifts. They're going to be showering you with compliments. They're going to be showering you with affection. They're going to be showering you on the end of their arm and showing you off wherever they can take you. And so this love bombing period is a period where you can literally really fall head over heels in love with this person if you're in an intimate relationship, because everything is about you. And if you've been on the end of this love bombing experience, it's quite cathartic because it makes you feel real special. And all those things that you were desiring in a relationship are there in this honeymoon period where they're literally love bombing you. And so everything, they will want you to be totally there, and they will be there for you. They will want to be with you so much that they're almost stepping into your boundaries because they want to be with you all of the time. And this is infectious, because when somebody's showering you with that much affection and that much love and that much attention, it's kind of really nice, because it's what we desire, what some of us desire in a relationship, to be that secure and to have that kind of attention and affection, and to be receiving those kind of gifts, and to be complimented on our clothes, on our makeup, on what we've said. Just to be really in that space is truly amazing. And this love bombing period can go on for as long as the narcissist feels that they need to reel you in. So let's just say that again. This is a reeling in so that you feel very safe with them. And when you feel safe, this is when things start to change. I want to talk about gaslighting. It's something that's been talked about in recent years, and something that is now becoming understood. Gaslighting, a definition looking at the Urban Dictionary. So this is straight out of the Urban Dictionary as a definition. A form of intimidation or psychological abuse where false information is presented to the victim. Notice the words, presented to the victim, making them doubt their own memory, perception, and quite often their sanity. So this is very different. It's a really different feel from the love bombing, of all those compliments, all that attention, all that social interaction, that wanting to be with you. So this is a very, very different feeling, totally. But by the time they've finished love bombing you and they get into the gaslighting, you're well and truly hooked, because it's quite hard to go from that intensity of the love bombing, the honeymoon period, into this experience of being gaslighted. So let's just look at what gaslighting sounds like. And this is where they've really, really done a good number on you. So you're head over heels, you're hooked in, and you're really loving them. And they will say things that will just seem completely irrational and out of context after that love bombing experience. You need help. Oh, you're so emotional. Why are you so defensive all the time? I wouldn't have done that to you. You're always whining about things. You're imagining things. You know, the kind of things. Is this making you remember? You know, if you have this kind of experience, you're so dramatic. Oh, don't be so sensitive. That didn't happen. You know, when you've described something, they've done something, and you're really upset. Oh, you sound crazy. That's not how it happens. I don't understand. You know, we were at the same event, and your experiences are totally different to mine. I didn't say that. Have you ever had that experience where there's all these things that just don't make sense anymore? And you're completely bamboozled because you've fallen head over heels in love with them, all those gifts, all that time that they've love bombed you and they've given you all that affection. And then they're coming out with these things that just don't make sense. Don't be so dramatic. Calm down. Don't be so sensitive. That's a false accusation. Don't get upset over nothing. You're doing it again. You don't trust me. I didn't say that. You need help. You're so emotional. How does that feel after all that attention and that love bombing? It's completely 360 degrees different. So, what's happened? Well, you're trying to work it out. It's going on. And it's uncomfortable because this is the person you fell in love with. Hook, line, and sinker. They've showered you with compliments and gifts, and suddenly they're sneering at you. They're making these awful comments that don't make sense, and you're trying to make sense of it all. I want to give you 6 red flags of narcissism. They're highly manipulative. So we've just gone through the gaslighting. And in that gaslighting, everything that you say that is wrong from what they've done, they will turn around and turn it onto you. And so if you say, why did you do that? That wasn't right. That was a bit unkind. You say, no, it's you. You've taken it the wrong way. And even if they do something wrong, they will make it that they didn't do anything wrong and it's your fault. You did something wrong. And what happens in that space is that you're still trying to work out what the hell happened. Because that manipulation is so different from where you were in the love bombing phase. And you're trying to get back to where it was. But it just doesn't happen. And they become very controlling of you. That control moves you into a space where you don't know whether you're coming or going. It'll almost feel like, did I imagine that? Am I going crazy? Like, what is the matter with me? And you'll feel drained in that relationship when you're with them. Even when you're not with them, they will be in your face. They're very, very jealous. So if you show attention and time with family, friends, with other people socially, if you go out, they might even follow you. They'll be messaging you to find out what you're doing regularly. And you might land up with lots of text messages. They might even put something on your phone to check where you're going, because they have an extraordinary amount of extreme jealousy. They will demean you at every opportunity that they can. And you will feel at some points completely worthless and almost as if you're going crazy, because they're rationalizing everything out that you're saying. And it would be unbelievable for you not to question, well, hang on a minute, did I really do that? What's going on here? This experience after being love bombed is quite different. And you're hanging on because that place where you were was so wonderful that you're hanging on because it was so beautiful that you want that to come back. And so you express how you feel when you feel safe to do so. That they will be dismissive of your feelings. They will turn on you when you express emotion. They will make you wrong. They'll say you're imagining everything. And more to the point, you may start believing what they're saying, because the gaslighting is going on. And when it's repetitive, and it's at every situation that you're in, with them, physically, emotionally, mentally, you will then be feeling like you're being broken down. Your spirit will break down. This is very uncomfortable, this place to be feeling, because you have fallen in love with them. That you fell in love with the person that was so lovely, so kind, so showering. Remember, it's the same person. It's exactly the same person, that they've changed towards you. They're still lovely externally to everyone else, but when you're alone, and when they take you on your side in front of people, they will show these behaviours. So let's look at the cycle of abuse. We start off with that honeymoon period, that affection, that adoration, all those wonderful compliments, and that just making you feel so special and loved and cared for and wanted and desired. And then you move into the moodiness. They'll be nitpicking at you. It'll cause a tension, like you're walking on eggshells. They come into the room and you wonder what they're going to say. And you start experiencing that tension because you don't know what they're going to say or do. It's where the criticisms start, the gaslighting. Oh yeah, and the mind games. Yeah, those mind games. Like, I did that. No, you didn't. You told me you were going to set that up, and now we can't go to the social because you haven't booked it, and now all the tickets have gone. And you quite clearly remember that your partner said he was going to make the bookings, or she was going to make the bookings, but it didn't happen. And suddenly it's all your fault. It really is your fault. And they've done such a number on you, nitpicking and criticizing at every step of the way, that you'll end up in this place of, OMG, it must be me. It's got to be me. I've got to be better. I've got to love that person better. I've got to be more. I've got to kind of sort myself out. And when this has gone on for a period of time, there is an explosion. With physical abuse, sexual abuse, and or emotional abuse. That there will be a very changed personality that's presenting themselves to you now. A very different person. Not the person that was love bombing you. It's somebody entirely different, almost unrecognizable. But you yearn for those moments of the love bombing. And you've fallen in love with them. So what do? You stay there hoping that they might change, maybe. Because you love them. You've fallen for them. And when this very deep-seated abuse starts to happen, then they move into a place of remorsefulness, where they're apologizing, promising never to do that again to you. They'll be full of justifications. Oh, you did that and you made me feel like this and that's why I cheated on you. That kind of conversation. So they make it like it's all your fault that they did something wrong to you. And if you didn't do that, then they wouldn't have made this terrible thing happen to you. And then the cycle moves on. And they will be kind after the remorsefulness because they are very sorry. And they're very needy in that stage of being sorry and asking for forgiveness. They'll never do it again. They'll seek help. They will go and get some counselling because they know what they did was wrong. But they were drunk. They were under the influence of something. And, you forgive them because you love them. And you'll find that you go back around the cycle of them being kind, showing you affection, adoring you. But it's short-lived because when you go around the cycle again, they become moody, nitpicking at you, and gaslighting you, and playing those awful mind games. And anybody that's been with a narcissist in a narcissistic relationship will recognize this cycle of abuse. What I want to look at is we stay there. Why we stay there? Because we've fallen in love with them. The love bombing phase is the phase that keeps you there. Because we all want affection. We all need that kindness, that adoration that they give us. You can't live with them and you can't live without them kind of experience. And what we find ourselves in is a Jekyll and Hyde personality situation. That the person is overly lovely to you. That's the Jekyll. They're really kind, very respectable. Everybody loves them. Doesn't matter where they go, everybody wants them in their space, in their company. They are the person that's invited to all the parties, to all the dinners. And they are the person that everybody considers as wonderful. then this other side of them comes out behind closed doors to you, not to everyone else. It's shown to you so that you can't go out and tell people about this change in them towards you because nobody believes you. One of the things that they'll be very covertly doing is isolating you from family, from friends, from the people that you trust. They will carefully maneuver and manipulate that when they get to this stage of gaslighting you and being really, really, there's no other words for it, but nasty, playing these mind games with you, is that they've got you, they've hooked you in. And when they've alienated you from your family, your friends, and they're checking on your calls, and they're watching you all of the time, there is very little escape for you to go looking for comfort, to go looking for support. They strip away your support network. And then you start to get caught up in this trap of hoping that they're going to be okay today. They're going to be kind, Mr. Jekyll today, or Miss Jekyll today, rather than the nasty Mr. Hyde or Miss Hyde. But you know it comes out, and you're in fear of the other personality coming out. They're one and the same person, and neither one survives without the other. And what's really, really challenging about this situation is when Jekyll comes out, he's so engaging and amorous and kind and affectionate that we've become trapped looking for the Jekyll side of the person, where what happens as the relationship moves on is that there is more Hyde appearing. And this is where the person is showing a very split personality. They're the same person, but they have a very kind demeanour and a charismatic nature and a very social person that is going to be liked and loved by many. At the other side to them, they show behind closed doors, away from most of the public. Now, what's challenging here is that it's difficult for others to believe that this Hyde, this split experience of the personality is there. It's really, really difficult to comprehend that that person is the same person, that you are experiencing it. And what do you do about it? You will go into all sorts of conversations internally about how to manage it and how to bring the Jekyll side out, the kind person, because you want that wonderful, kind person. And they will be more kind to you in your external social activities rather than inside, behind closed doors. So I want to look at some repressed traits of a narcissist. They fear true intimacy. It is very, very difficult to get to know them because they're on the defense. They don't want anyone close to them because they fear you getting to know them too well. And this is an interesting aspect of the narcissist because you wouldn't expect them to fear intimacy. That's true intimacy, real intimacy, because they're always on their guard. They have a level of repressed shame. And that repressed shame what they're shutting down, they're literally holding that down, that shame. It comes out in you. Because whatever they're suppressing will be expressed in you. And so that intimacy that they fear will show up in you as a fear of intimacy, of getting close to someone. That repressed shame, there will be something in you that feels a level of shame, which then balances the narcissist in their repressed shame. They absolutely fear rejection, which is why the love bombing phase is so critical. They don't want you to let them down, to turn them down. It is important to them that you are never going to reject them. And so it is very difficult to leave a narcissistic relationship. They make it almost impossible to leave. And this is where this anxiousness comes in, because there's an anxiety that the narcissist is suppressing, which gets expressed in the other person severely. So can you see that whatever the narcissist is suppressing is expressed in the person that they're with? And this becomes the challenge, which also creates the balance. The balance that the narcissist needs is for this anxiety to show up. They will lack vulnerability. They won't like to feel vulnerable at any stage of the relationship. No matter if they've done something really, really not good, really wrong, they will fear a vulnerability and they will not let that in. They will do everything possible to stay in control. Because if they stepped inside a place of vulnerability, the whole narcissist traits will fall apart. And in that lacking of vulnerability becomes an overbearing need to be in control, verbally, physically, emotionally, and sexually, intimately. There will be an overbearing of control because the vulnerability gets suppressed and in its place becomes an absolute need, a requirement for this person to be in control, which moves you in the relationship as not in control at all. You will be totally at their disposal. So what do you do with this situation? Because underneath all that control is this repression that is showing up. You are expressing everything that they are repressed with. They will not like to be ridiculed. And even in jest, they will feel extraordinarily uncomfortable if you ridicule them. And so it's really important to be very careful about how you respond to them when you're in your challenged experiences and events. Because even though they fear ridicule, if you ridicule them, they will turn. And they can turn quite nasty. And they will turn it all on you, that it's your fault. You did that. You did this. And this is where it can lead, and I say it may lead into physical abuse. And this is where they will hit you, hurt you in places that are not visible to other people. Because this is another form of control. So you have to be really careful about how you're responding to them and what you're saying to them. And more importantly, what mood that they're in, and managing how you react to when they are in this state of repression and needing to be in control. Now, what's really interesting is I want to turn this 360 degrees around. They are able to benefit from these narcissistic relationships because these repressed traits are actually in the people. These are repressed traits in the people they develop relationships with. So there will be in that narcissistic relationship, the victim in this case, as we're calling them, the person that's not the narcissist, that's the victim in this relationship. There will be a fear of true intimacy. There will be a state of repressed shame. And I know it sounds really difficult because we're not creating them. Everything is vibration, and everything is in balance. And so this fear of really connecting in that true space of intimacy will be there for the person that's in that relationship. And that's what they're feeding off. And there will be some level of shame. More shame than guilt in that relationship. And so when they're suppressing the shame, you are expressing it. And this shame, you won't go and speak to somebody for fear of being judged, for fear of what somebody might say. Oh, what the hell are you doing in that relationship then? What's the matter with you? Get out of it. Kick him into touch. But it's really difficult because you're caught, you're there, and you know that it has repercussions if you just leave. Because the narcissist won't let you leave because they fear rejection. If you leave and end the relationship, they won't let you. And they will find it really difficult to let you go once they've got you. And so when you've got to this stage, what do you do with that? How do you cope? How do you move through this space of not being able to cope with the control that this person shows? Because you fell in love with them. And so you repress your anxiety. You feel your vulnerability because they repress theirs. And you fear the true intimacy because they repress theirs. And so this is your vibration then matches their vibration in terms of where they truly are. And this is how you can keep locked in this cycle of abuse. And it's not easy to leave a narcissist. Many people are still in their narcissistic relationships because they haven't found the way to leave. And they haven't found the way because they have a repressed anxiety. They are fearing what other people will say to them. And like will attract like. And so you get locked in this cycle of abuse with your abuser, the narcissist. Because everyone else will see them as very grand, as very sociable, as very charismatic, as kind, as the person that's having a laugh with everyone. And it's really hard to explain to people what they're really like behind closed doors, how they're really treating you, how you're not coping, and how things have become very difficult for you to comprehend in terms of how you handle it all. I'm not painting a great picture. But this is serious. These are the relationships that are out there. the kinds of people that are narcissists hold very, very strong positions in society. They're directors, they're people in very powerful positions, they're people that will probably have many partners, they're probably doing this to more than one person. They are liked in society and known in society as very charismatic people. They're popular. It's really hard to get away from a narcissist, but there is life after this relationship. Life after narcissistic abuse is filled with miracles. I promise you, it's filled with miracles. You just have to be ready to reach out and let them in. You need to be ready to reach out and let them in, because there is life after that narcissistic abuse. I promise you there is. And this quote by Shahida Arabi really painting this picture just eloquently as a final slide, to say that it's possible to let go. But that's the beginning of the journey, because there is a healing journey after leaving that relationship. And that healing journey is you. It's yours, because it will rear its experience in its head in future relationships. So it's important to manage and to process and integrate what happened in that relationship, because it happened. And how do you cope? And what do you do? And how do you stop it happening in the next relationship? Because you'll be on your guard. You will in there lies trust issues. You will find it difficult to trust. I promise you, there are miracles when you learn to trust and you begin the journey of loving yourself and honouring yourself in every way. Thank you for your attention and your interest. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV and Radio. You can find all of our Talking Heads episodes under the playlist named Talking Heads 2022. Please do reach out to me if I may be of service. The subject matter today has been very grave, and it's real and it happens. I offer a free consultation either on Zoom, on Skype, or call. You can reach me on nomorestress@live.co.uk, or call if you're international, +44. If you're local, 07523 120 189. I look forward to helping you get to the other side of narcissistic behaviour. Thank you.